Hello there. My name is Zachary, and I want to welcome you back to another episode on the Nouveau test server. So you might notice we've got some new particles around us. Not these leaves, but these little blue things. We're going to talk about these later. It's part of that super secret particle update that hopefully by the time this video is out is no longer super secret, but it has been released. But yeah, it's why all of our spells are going to take significantly longer to make, because you can customize exactly how all of your spells look and sound. And so like that is a firework trail, and these are instant effect particles, and you might notice the different sounds. There's a whole bunch of sound effects, and yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun to play with, but not what I want to focus on primarily immediately. So hello, Gootastic. Someone changed my Starbies. Today our focus is going to be on entering the Nether first and foremost. We need to get the progression over. I want a tier 2 book, and for that we need blaze rods. And so for the first thing, we are going to make this into a proper Nether portal. We're going to relocate these guys in the process, and yeah, we're going to get that set away. We're also going to check out the new ritual from R's additions, the Tablet of Locate Structure. We're going to see if this can help us speed up our exploration. Wayfinder, so we've got plenty of gold. Yeah, not too hard. And so that'll help us, hopefully, which this has a whole bunch of different things. So Wild and Den Monument, Nether Fortress. So we need Nether brick. So once we're in the Nether, we're going to grab some Netherrack, or actually, we don't need to wait. And there we go. So we have our Nether brick for the Locate Structure ritual. So we'll do that once we're in the Nether. So we'll need to make some more ritual braziers as well. I'm going to want to get some containment jars and rituals so that we can grab some mobs while we're there. I don't like to make too many trips out to another fortress, if I'm being honest. So I want to capture some blazes. I want to capture at least a wither skeleton. And I don't know, there's probably other weird stuff in the Nether from some of the mods that are in the pack. And we'll just see. So we want to make a bunch of these. We'll make some of these as well, which means we need manipulation essence. That's right. So first and foremost, I swapped this over to earth essence because I wanted to do some more harvest rituals, but we should swap this over to manipulation essence. Not that hard. All right, so I'm just going to swap these out, and this is now making manipulation essence. Great. So, yeah, which we're going to need, honestly, a fair amount of that anyways. It's used for quite a lot. As you can see, it has some transmutation recipes. We can cycle between diorite, andesite, and granite, as well as calcite, deep slate, and tuff, moss, grass, mycelium, through the various saplings of archwood to make skyweave and to make the tablets of containment, as well as a bunch of random spells and imbuement chamber recipes and enchanting apparatus recipes. I find I go through a lot of manipulation essence, so yeah, we're definitely going to need a lot of this. Which, oh yeah, something that I think is just going to be a good idea is I want to have a repository here where I can put the various ingredients for the essences when they're not in use. Since this is still just a manual, one at a time kind of thing, I just want to have all of the recipes there ready to swap out. So, I need flax seeds and other stuff. All right, for now, let's worry about our portal. So let's get some buckets. Get a little bit of water. I want to save some of this lava. I know we're going to be able to go into the nether and get it, you know, and have it be no problem. But I do want to hold on to some of it just because. And now this is effectively a diamond pickaxe, which means this is going to be slow. So we should just use our... Wait, get out of there. We should just use our breaking beam, ultimately, if we want to move this stuff around. And we need to be careful. I don't like... That's interesting. Oh! It must be the correct tool for everything. Because it got... Oh, hold on. Let me go test it on shear, or test it on things that need shears. Yeah. Huh, that's actually quite convenient. And unexpected. Yeah, wow. So that's an unexpected. So it's not just a paxel, it's also shears. Thanks, Bailey. That is something that I legitimately did not expect to have, but that is going to be super useful. Oh yeah, and I put just a conjure dirt spell on the gauntlet, because I figured, and also made it the touch sensitive so that I can just put a temporary block that is easy to break. Because that's just often handy when you're building. You just need something. And you can also, like, you know, bridge up. Or if you're going about, you can make a little loop if you can land on it. That's the one thing with the belt. It's difficult to land on things. Because normally when I'm going around with elytra and flying, I will aim down at a corner and I will hold shift so that I sneak and won't fall off the edge when I land. But sneaking is how you activate the levitation, so it's very difficult to land on something like this. But yeah. We're not going to be using the Belt of Levitation long term, I think. It's a good item early game, and it is genuinely helpful, and especially like for just casually falling off. If I hit sneak, just even at all, but before I hit the ground, it cancels out the fall damage. And it's very easy to do. It hardly impacts me. But as soon as I start using my wings, my elytra, then that issue that I just talked about where I can't land on anything happens, because that's just how I fly. I hold sneak and I aim my nose down at a corner and hope that I hit it. And because bounce negates fall damage, even when you sneak, you know, it's just kind of naturally the way that happens. So the Belt of Levitation is going to be short term. And we're going to swap that out once we have our wings. But for now, it has it's super useful when combined with the Ring of Jumping. I might use the Ring of Jumping and elytra. They do a fun thing where you hit the second jump and that also spreads your wings, so you just do this immediate sort of like gliding around, and I think it's kind of fun, but it might take some getting used to, so I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, let's get this obsidian. Okay, so this is now ready to be lit, which I believe we should have ignite. So we have our way into the nether. And honestly, one of the things that I want the most is probably some nether quartz, just to immediately start off with. We definitely need like blaze rods and whatnot to get our book upgraded to the next tier and find our way to the end. but for now, I would like to have access to quartz for like observers and comparators, you know, boring redstone stuff, honestly. Some spell prisms because, well, I've got some plans to show off some of the new particles. And I would like some prisms to bounce them around in. Those shouldn't be visible from this far away. Interesting. Probably shouldn't think too hard about that. So we're not, like, we don't have everything that we wanted to get, but let's just step in and see what's on the other side. Real quick. Oh, good. Ooh. Zeeg. Oh, good. Hey, buddy. Okay. So this is less than ideal, I'm going to say. What is that? I don't know. Let's see. We see some mage blocks over there. We don't immediately see a Nether Fortress, which is less lucky than we sometimes get. Wow, that's a lot of gold. Interesting. So, yeah, here's some... Oh, yeah, this is where we're actually going to really be able to notice where some trimming in the early game was done. Because initially the server mod pack was set up with all the modium ores because we have all the Arcanist gear because it's a Ars add-on and we need to test things, so that's on the server obviously. But there was a lot of ores in all the modium that we didn't want, but we didn't disable them, so they generated. And Alex wrote something to go and swap out all the modium ores for stone, which included all of the nether variants for stone. Maybe we should have had those swapped out for netherrack, but yeah, whatever. It's fine. What we came here for primarily was these. What is that dirt? Again, this is a server that's been active for several months now, and I've just been absent. And I wonder where Cuther's bedrock removal is happening at. Let me just look at the map real quick, see if there's... Well, that's a faster way over to Zeeg. It's got it in this little cave here. Okay, so let's see. We got 2 quartz. We want a little bit more. Let's see. We need to get this enchanted as soon as possible, too, because I would like to be able to just tear through this. Because one of the reasons why we want it to be a Paxel is because you can get the Instamine if you get the efficiency up. If you get it fully enchanted. There's a bunch in the ceiling. Let's see if we can't just snipe it out. Now, one issue that we're going to have with the particle update, honestly, is just designing spells that don't completely block our line of sight every time we shoot. Which is a real danger. Let's see, we can just hop around. Oh, it's playing a sound when it hits too. Yeah, we're gonna need to really get used to all of the new intricacies of the spell system. Ooh, we really don't want to fall down there. Okay. That was a successful trip. Our mana regen looks a little slow. I don't know. Maybe it's just not super high. We don't have any enchantments on this anyways, other than... Yeah, no, we don't have any mana regen enchantments. We just have the armor, and we have our glyphs. Still feels like it should be higher, but... I don't know. We'll... Just... Yeah, I don't know. And there we go. We've got some spell prisms. Now, spell prisms, we'll go into them in much more detail later. But for now, they are just a useful... Let's see, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see if I can hit this. Boop. Oh. And now we can have the spell projectiles a little bit easier to observe. So the prisms, if a spell touches them, they will get redirected out the facing side here. And spell projectiles have a lifespan, I think, of 60 seconds, I want to say. And an observer can detect when a spell touches one of these prisms. So that's one of the ways that we like to detect when a spell is in an area, or is you're passing through a system in a certain way. And you can move these with pistons too, so you can have, say, a path that the spell is going along, and then you can either extend a prism to catch the spell or let it continue on its path. And you can have it bounce directly between two prisms faced at each other, which we'll do in a second. Yeah, all right, that's now broken. And this is another nice thing about having a little Paxel, like a non-spell breaking tool, because obviously it's difficult to break spell prisms if you're using projectile spells. Yeah, and so this is a little trick that we used for the warps system back in 1.16 and 1.18, is that you just have a spell bouncing back and forth between two prisms. And with the new particle system, we've actually got a great reason to use prisms to trap projectiles around, because there's so many decorative options. Like the options are fully just like overwhelming, to be perfectly honest. You've got so much, like even just like this radius on the helix. So like now it's a wider radius, can get that all the way out here, and it is extending a full block to either side. So, and gosh, this just becomes so many particles so quickly. I genuinely fear for some people with lower end hardware, if just it's so easy to make so many particles. But you know, progress marches onwards. I do really like having the options, and gosh, I can only imagine what Zeeg's base is going to end up like. And also, you can use these with the Mage Light sconces as well. Those will take on the particles of the Mage Light spells that you cast on them. Yeah, so we're going to do a lot with the particles, a lot with the prisms. I've got some, I don't know, tentative plans or even just thoughts because you can have observers watch these, like I said. And I've always thought that it would be cool to have note blocks triggered when spells come through, or even potentially do like a short song using that. I don't know. We've got a lot of options. And especially now with spells being able to play basically whatever sound we want. If we look at this, we've got so many sound effects. Basically all the sound effects in the game. It's gosh, I think Bailey said that there was thousands, and so he cut the list down. So there's still a lot, because there's a lot of duplicated sounds, honestly. But we basically have access to all of the Minecraft sounds that you could want. Now we're thinking with prisms. And so you can have the particles on spawn, so when you cast, on hit, which is down here. So one more thing, and I'm going to keep going, one more thing as I keep thinking of more and more things to do before we go to the, go exploring, is there are threads for our armor. And we might want to make a couple of these before we head out, because some of them are kind of helpful. We don't have a lot of resources, again, because we're pretty early game, but we do have a bunch of these tokens. And there's a thread for each of them. I kind of want the Whirly Sprig token because it gives a boost to the saturation of food, which it's actually a pretty sizable bonus. It turns like the Mendostine here almost effectively into like a golden carrot or something, or like more like a steak. It's 30% is what it says, but it's the little bar here will show differently. So I think we can actually make that right now. Do we have a golden apple? Well, we do have gold, and we do have enchanted golden apple. Do we have apple? We don't have apple. That's unfortunate. Okay, now that we have scavenged ourselves an apple, we can go ahead and get that as the last ingredient and go ahead and make our Whirly Sprig token, or thread. So actually, we need some threads first. So that means we need some Mage Bloom fibers. So I know we need those. We need the thread, any thread really. 5 is ambitious. I've only got 4 slots right now, so I'm just going to make a couple of these. And so the ones that you're going to end up wanting to go for eventually, obviously, are the thread of spell power and the thread of magic capacity, because these just directly increase your numbers. So the thread of magic capacity is 10% of your maximum mana per level. The thread of spell power is +2 spell damage per level. So we're obviously going to have those, but those are down the line. We're not going to worry about them right now because we can't. Well, we could probably make this one, actually. We might make this one. But the thread of spell power we'll make once we have all of the essence set up, which we might be able to do, but again, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Thread of the Wixie, we'll do that when we come back. High step, yes. This one, I actually quite like the ability, because it is basically just step assist for automatically being able to step up on top of blocks. Every thread level that you put it in is +1 on top of your already 0.5 step height. So with one level, you will be able to actually step over fences. So let's go ahead and do that. Oop, we need the earth essence as well. Might as well grab some manipulation while we're at it. These essence look so delicious now. Look at that. You just want to eat them. They're candy. Goo. You've made candy. Alright, so we need the blank thread, and the high step is just here. I'm gonna do big steps. Big steppies. We need... Alright, we got that. We're gonna need 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Thread of Whirly Sprig. I really do think that the Thread of Whirly Sprig is worth having, at least in a level 1 slot forever, because once you have Sourceberry Pie, a level 1 Whirly Sprig thread will completely max out the saturation from Pie. So I think that it's worth it, at least for that. And with Mendostine already... Well, alright, let's just see. I don't have an alteration table yet, so let's see if we can do that. We need a scribe's table. Okay. Let's just put it up here. There. So on our... Let's see, on our steppies, let's put the high step. And now we automatically step up on top of stuff. We're going to get used to that. Oop, which, yeah. Alright, and then we're going to put the Whirly Sprig on our hat. Because we're eating. And then let's see. So Mendostine should give 2.5 shanks of the meter down here. Let's see what we get. So we got 3.5. So that's... I don't know. I think that that's pretty good. Because if you eat 2 of them, which is the equivalent of eating 1 steak, pretty much, because, well, think like mutton or something. But yeah, so 2 shanks worth of your bar, you will restore most of your bar worth of saturation. And saturation is where the real healing comes from. And Mendostine gives you the recovery effect here, which for every level of the recovery effect that you have, all healing that you receive is increased by 1. So level 1 increases all healing by 1. All natural healing is done in increments of 1. So that's straight up a 100% boost. This also counts for the regen spell for any natural healing through just, yeah, your natural regen from food, the instant health spells, any source of regen or healing is increased by a flat 1. So this makes it a very good survival food. That's why we're living off of it. And now that actually makes for a much more sustainable food. That is the danger of the high step. I keep walking on top of this. So we're going to have to design around that. as we go on, because that could be annoying. Or we'll have to see about if we want to turn off the high step. Yeah, there's going to be unforeseen annoyances, I think. But I don't know. I can get used to it. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I guess let's make the thread of magic capacity. Alright, so we just need one more thread and then we'll be good. You know what? We don't really have a good option, so let's just get the thread of repairing to double the speed that our gear will fix itself at, because none of it's enchanted, so that might actually be helpful. Alrighty, so we're all threaded up. It's not going to make a massive difference, but it's going to build in time as we get the upgrades. Once we get back from our adventure, hopefully we should be able to have a full complement of maxed out threads. At least for what I plan on maxing out. I don't know if I'm going to touch all the Arcanist gear. I don't really love going into that high of a power level as you do in those super grindy mod packs. So yeah, our maximum is probably going to be one of the elemental armors, I think. But I haven't decided which one we're going to go for yet. In the past, I have done the wind, which I had a lot of fun with because you slam yourself into the ground to activate your mana regen, and just generally, zoom around like a crazy person and throw a lot of lightning. Always a fun time. And I've also played in Earth Mage, which was when I was living in an ancient city and turned it into a lush cave. I was rather happy with that. But that's really for when you're underground is when that gives you the most benefit. I do like it. Earth mages, I think, are underrated. I think they are one of the more powerful mages, generally speaking, because of the harm spell. That's an earth spell, and all of the earth gear will give a bonus to it. So, and basically nothing full on is immune to harm. It'll hurt pretty much everything. So that's not too bad. I haven't ever really gone fire mage. I don't know if I ever will. That would only leave fire or water if I don't want to do something that I've done before. But I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I think all of the elements have some pretty cool bonuses to them. Maybe we'll even go for one of the Elemancy ones if we're feeling indecisive. There's all these tier 5 combination ones. Cindermancer. Actually, that Cindermancer, fire and air, that is a fun combination, actually. We might go for the Cindermancer. Absorb some fire and air related damage and convert into mana, instantly clears fire and highly reduce fall damage. This could be fun, especially if we want to do stuff in the Nether. Or just do stuff with fire and air. Yeah. I don't know. I think it could be fun to delve into some of these combo things and see what Laurelian's cooked up for us. Oh yeah. So we've got a 1.5 block step height now, which that is going to be useful. I like that when going around through redstone contraptions, and honestly, before it was linked to the Starbuncle thread. So when the Starbuncle thread was at level 3, it would give you step height plus 2, I think, which was difficult to deal with, honestly. I learned to love it personally, just because I liked having the step height and the speed, but it was difficult to pilot. So now I like to go with a low-level Starbuncle thread and a low-level step thread, because it's just so nice to be able to go up without jumping. Okay, so I need to make some more books because I want to do some enchanting, the vanilla style, and I don't want to go make a sugarcane farm because I do have a lot of wood. So I'm going to make a quick little automation thing because we can get bark from stripping trees on a cutting board, but there's a problem. I don't want to sit here using a cutting board. So we're going to set up a little bit, and I made some comparators and like redstone components with our supplies. So just going to show you a really quick little way to automate a cutting board. The comparator will detect anytime there's something in the cutting board. It'll power this block, that'll power this redstone wire, which will power this block, which will power the dispenser. So we just put the flourishing archwood logs in there, and they get stripped. And yeah, so we can fill a repo or something with it, and we can just load these up, and maybe make a bunch of stone axes or something, because this does still go through the durability. But anyways, this is going to get us our bark and whatnot until we can get some more sophisticated methods. Just a little bit of redstone. All right, so now that we have a enchanting table set up, we can start to do some vanilla enchanting, which I always like to do before I use the enchanting apparatus for the specific enchants, because I like to just get a baseline. And so I just toss this in, and we've got efficiency 4, efficiency 4. That's fine. I'm not sure if I want looting or fortune or soul touch on it. I think probably as a primary harvesting tool, it would be better to have it be soul touch, just, yeah, to make sure it doesn't destroy anything that I'm gathering, and that makes it generally more useful in building. But I also do want to get one that has fortune, mostly for the reason that whenever you are holding something in your hand that has an enchantment, like fortune that affects the drops, and you're casting a break spell, as long as that tool is in your hand, you'll get the effect of it. It's similar to what you'll get with a looting sword, which, by the way, I don't know. The looting, if you have looting on a sword and it's in your hand, and you kill something, as in the cause of something's death is attributed to you, so a spell can kill it or one of your pets can kill it, and as long as you're holding the sword in your hand, you'll get the looting effect. That's the same sort of concept behind having Silk Touch or Fortune on a pick or a gauntlet, is that it will apply to any break spells that you cast with that hand as well. So at some point we're going to try to get ourselves a fortune gauntlet just to have a break spell, because honestly I never like using the luck glyph in spells that I cast manually. Even if I get a discount, it doesn't matter. Even if I'm using chain spells, I just don't like spending the mana for Fortune 4. That's what the machine's for. All right, let's head out. Here's the library, which we haven't been to in a while. Ooh, we never came up here, actually. So there's still a few more things that we can grab. Ooh. There's actually some pretty good stuff up here. Just scoop up a bunch of this stuff. Charm of Defense. An elegant brooch in the shape of a shield. By channeling the flow through itself, it envelops the wearer in a thin yet strong protective film. I forget how to even check what it does. Let's see. Automatically applies the linked spell to an enemy attacking the player, then goes on cooldown for 16.2 seconds. To use this ability, a spell must be inscribed onto the item using a scribe's table, consisting of no more than 3 components and starting with the touch form. And this is already a 4.5 out of 5, so we're probably not going to reroll this. Experience share spreading. So this gains 25% of the experience of any other thing, and then every time it activates, it gets experience. So we'll look into this later. That's pretty neat. Been a while since we've been at spawn. Oh yeah, there's the nether portal here. Let's just bop through and see what's at spawn. Ah, skeleton. Alright, well, Soul Sand Valley is on the other side. Spiked cloak. A heavy cloak woven from chimera hide with sharp orange spikes protruding in places. Whenever taking damage equal to 11% of the player's maximum health, fire several spikes, each dealing 4 damage. If the ability has triggered within the last 8 seconds, spike damage is doubled for each activation, and the cooldown timer resets. If the timer expires, the bonus damage multiplier resets. Oh, so it's a Thorn's Cloak kind of deal. Alrighty. Ooh, looting 3. Fortune 3. We should... Oh, no, we can't turn that into an enchanter's sword because it's gold. Fortune 3. Wow. Good rolls. Here's the sand. A lot of sandstone, looks like. Or what's this? Cracked sand as well. So this is not a desert as I was hoping, but there is sand here. That's it. And we're just going to gather a bunch of sand because we want to make a lot of glass. What are these? Firecracker flower bush. Oh. And we brought a couple extra backpacks so that we can carry stuff. Weird. Oh, these actually slow you down. A mini cactus. So these don't hurt you. They don't have any berries either. Hard to get out of. Oh, I'm right by someone, actually. So I shouldn't be tearing this up too much. Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, they've got a flight ritual. Not sure. They seem to have gone with a somewhat based off of sugarcane, although some of the faces are blocked, which always bugs me. I got what? Little guy. A Moncher, or whatever the heck it is. Okay, well, I don't know who this is, but I'll stop wasting your source by using your flight ritual. And I think I've got enough. Let's see, sand anyways. I don't need a ton, but it's good to have. So we've got, let's see, that's sandy dirt. None of this is sandy. Let's see, that's sandy dirt, sand. So we got almost 4. We got 3 and a bit stacks of sand. I think that's probably good for now. And let's just go right back home with this stabilized warp scroll that we got from Cuther. I hope this is the one that takes us home. It was. Alrighty, so yeah, that's one of the big advantages that we have with ours, especially with the stabilized warp scrolls. Although we don't have the materials to make it quite yet, we do have, you know, a bit of a supply of warp scrolls, which aren't that hard to make. We just don't have the blaze rods and ender pearls to make the stabilized ones. But luckily people are helpful. Alright, so now that's all cooking into glass. So we're just going to wait for that to be done and go handle something else real quick. Alrighty, so I believe our glass should be done. Yeah, alright. 2 and 3. Alright, so I got 3 stacks of glass. We can then just throw in to here, because we need to make containment jars. So we're going to need some slabs. And so we're going to make a good little pile. How about 16? Because we also need to make some glass bottles. Who is wandering around? Which villager? You! Where have you been? Ah, I thought both of you wandered off. Well, no, you're new. Where's the... It's so hard keeping track of villagers when you let them roam free. We'll have to do something about that later. Anyways, so we need to finish getting ready to go to the fortress. So we need a ritual of containment to make the containment jars work, which we need bottles for. Let's get the ritual tablet of containment. There we go. Let's just add that to our list there. So we need some glass bottles. So let's make a little pile of glass bottles. And 8. There we go. All right, good. That's how many I wanted, for sure. Definitely. So we've got our containment jars. We've got our tablet of containment. We need ritual braziers. We might make another one. The ritual brazier. There we go. All right, so we've got a couple braziers just in case we need to leave one running somewhere. And we've got some source jars. So now this is our little mobile containment factory. So that means that we're ready. We've got our sword prepared with our spell, with the dispel at the start. We'll show you why it's got that later. Knockback, harm. We've got our Enchanter's Gauntlet with Infinity 4. And our Novice Spellbook along with our Ring of Jumping and Belt of Levitation. And Sorceberry Pie for mana regen and just healing. And Mendocine for healing. And yeah. I think we need to get going. Oh, one more thing. We need to get the Ritual of Locate Structure. That's right. structure. There we go. So we need to make a wayfinder, which is easy enough, and a compass. And there we go. That's the other reason that we needed the ritual braziers. All right, so we've got that. Do we have our... Yep, we've got our brick. So let's get our stuff ready. We're going to need a whole bunch of stuff. Let's go sleep. All right, let's get some junk out of our inventory. And our inventory is just going to fill up with dirt over time because we've got a conjure dirt spell on our Enchanter's Gauntlet. Let's go ahead and put the bookworm charms in our book bag. That seems appropriate. And we're not going to need the sleeping bag where we're going. Nor will we need to conjure planes. I don't think so, at least. All right. Okay, that's not... Yeah, that's the sound that I didn't want to hear. I was like, let's make sure there's no gas around. There you are! Of course. Of course, when villagers go missing, they came to the Nether. Right. Alright. You know what? Let's take a second and make this idiot-proof. Okay, now with the Nether portal hopefully idiot-proofed, let's continue. All right, so oh gosh, I'm so thrown off by that. That was villagers. That's why they are so difficult to deal with. All right, so I just want to make sure we don't get sniped by a ghast while we're doing this. Because we need to do the ritual, so... The brazier, that sounds so close. Tablet. Alright, and now we've got our bound wayfinder, which works like a compass that points towards the closest Nether Fortress. Alright. Which I think other people have been to. Zeke was telling me the mage block bridges lead the way. It'd be nice if we could find one that people haven't been to. Ooh, what's this? Vibranium ore. We're probably not going to need that. Yeah, alright, so here's the one that it's pointing to. I think. I suppose it's probably pointing to the middle. Ooh, okay, so here's a blaze spawner. So here's why... We've got the Dispel. There's a special coded thing in, which I think isn't really meant to be in, but it is. It's an example. So the method for getting Wixie shards, or the charms or the tokens, is to dispel a witch when they're at half health or lower. And... someone thought that it would be a fun idea if there were other conditions under which you could dispel a mob to turn it into something. And so, if you dispel a blaze when they are on fire, they will go poof. Oh, this is pointing to another fortress. 400-something blocks that way. Might be worth checking out. But yeah, we're going to get some blaze rods here. By just sort of casually whacking them. Now, I did some testing, and this doesn't respond to looting or anything. So they are just vaporized, and you might get a blaze rod, you might not. It doesn't seem super consistent. But, yeah, we got a couple. This is enough to get our... It's enough to get... our next tier of book. Because, yeah, we need 2 of those. And we've got the diamonds, I believe. So yeah, we can... Oh, gosh. Yep, that's right. They still spawn elsewhere. Okay. Ooh. Poof. All right, so we're also going to need to set up a containment ritual to get some of these guys. They're not... It's not the best way to get the wither skeleton skulls. I've got an example on my channel of the best way to get wither skeleton skulls, and we might end up doing that because I thought that was a lot of fun. The old wither farm. In case we wanted to maybe make some decorative beacons. Maybe open up a lamp shop. Ooh. Ooh. Now, it only works when they're on fire. You might have noticed I hit one over there, and it didn't poof because it had already shot and wasn't on fire. So that's just an example of a condition. Like, that's data packable, I believe. So if you're a mod pack maker out there, you could make a custom condition under which you can dispel a mob to turn it into something else. All right. Let's set up our ritual of containment here. Ooh, get the jars out. Alrighty. We'll take it. And now let's go get some of these guys. Now, how many of these are there over here? Because I would like to get more. That would be nice. Just 2. Come on. Come on, buddy. Hey, hey. Come over here. Alrighty. There's that ambient sound again. That little sound. Or that song. It's gonna go boop, 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 boop. See? There it is. Where is that coming from? Is that a backpack mob? Is that a mod with an ambient sound? It's a cool song. I like it. But where is it coming from? It's not like an ambient track in the game, because you can get further away from it. And it can, like, abruptly end. Where are you? Ah. Ooh. Goodbye, Ghast. Was it linked to that Ghast? I don't know. Anyways, I think we've got what we need for now. Unless... So, the only thing we need now is pearls? Ender pearls. So, if we could find a warped forest, that would be fantastic. But, aside from that, yeah, let's go home and regroup. Where is home? I think it was this direction, right? Ah, here we go. Alrighty, so our next options are we can look for a warped forest. We can train up another... Ooh! We can train up the other cleric we have there. Because we have 2 clerics, because we grabbed 1 brewing stand from a village, and then 1 cleric disappeared. So another villager took that spot. But the cleric's back. That cleric didn't trade ender pearls though, so maybe the next one will. So remains to be seen. Yeah, all right, we've got some jarred mobs, which we can do stuff with later, but we've immediately got our blaze rods so that we can do our book upgrade. We don't have enough diamonds. Oh no. Do we seriously not? Oh no. Ah. Only 2. Well, I guess we're going to go mining. With that, you know what? I'm going to end the episode here with us going into the mines because we cannot achieve what we wanted to, which was to get a tier 2 book. But yeah, hopefully next episode we're going to be heading into the end. That's my goal. I want to get wings. All right. Well, I will catch you next time. Goodbye.